Let's go to line number 2. Good morning, Simeon Tshakapesh. You're on the air.
Good morning, Patty.
How are you?
Very good.
Grand.
I sent information that was sent to me a few days ago about harassment at workplace and unresolved complaints of racism at the Muskrat Falls site.
Yeah, I read this particular letter. This is, I don't know if you're planning on using any names that's involved.
No, I'm not going to be planning on using any names.
But I read this one particular letter. I'm still a little bit confused about what kind of level of bullying or intimidation is going on here. Spell it out for us, will you, Simeon?
Well, after reading the very carefully with the chronology of the incidents, what transpired over the site there, and this been happening over the August 2013, and one of the comments that really disturbed me when one of the couple guys at the work site stated that that they will get 10 points if they run over the people crossing the road. And that kind of comments, to me, I don't take it very lightly. I take it very very seriously, because I'm kind of worried when those kind of comments are made, like you are making outright threats to another human being.
Now, the one I got about is not being picked up because people are bad-mouthing each other on Facebook or something. Is that what we're also talking about here? As opposed to, I don't have anything about the comment about Innu people cleaning the streets. I don't see that. I
sent all the information that was sent to me. I forwarded to feedback VOCM.
Okay, I have one of them. Anyway.
Yeah, and it's all written fine print on a documentation, and I believe it was sent to Mr. Bennett to Nalcor to look into these matters that was complained to them, and I believe it was never dealt with, and I don't know how long the intent to not to look into these matters. And I believe one of the officers, the RCMP former officers there, is taken leave of absence from his job, and I believe it was sent to one of the members as well, Walking Mountain Police. And those kind of comments, it was very offensive, I don't feel it's not right what those couple guys said to the people. I mean, 10 points. They'll get a 10 points on August 17. Like here's what the writer wrote on August 17, 2030. While driving home from the night shift, the driver ACC person had to stop and let two people cross the road. Before the last guy crossed the road, Mr. blah 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 and the other guy 10 points, and had a big laugh up to one another. This statement was made with the underlying content to run them over to get 10 points.
Yeah, now, I mean, is that just, baloney water cooler, albeit unfortunate, albeit disgraceful and unacceptable talk? I mean, is that just that kind of foolishness that is almost better served turning a deaf ear to it? Because, I mean, no one's going to run anyone down for 10 points, whatever the hell 10 points represents. It's just sort of that stupid talk, right?
Yeah, if I made that kind of talk over the site or any else doesn't matter, if I made that kind of comments towards non-Aboriginal people, I'm pretty sure the RCMP will be at my doorstep right away. It's always like that.
Okay.
It's always like that, And not only that, there's ongoing problems there that people keep calling me about the problem at Muskrat Falls site. And yesterday, a couple guys called me yesterday from Muskrat Falls. They said, well, people have been laid off, and they've been let go, and there's no intention replacing that Aboriginal person. And if that happens to non-Aboriginal people, if they get laid off, right away that position can be filled. But it's not happening. But they're saying the New Dawn Agreement is not being followed, and also they also stated that the union policies are more enforced than New Dawn Agreement. So what's the difference, union policies and the rules and policies and procedures and New Dawn Agreement? I think New Dawn Agreement should be more effective than union dues, whatever you call them.
Yeah, Simeon, you and I have had these conversations before. If if there's people on the job site, white people saying nothing but disparaging and racist and awful things about Aboriginal people, then they should be dealt with. I mean, everyone agrees with that.
Yeah, but it's not happening. But the person that was sent to this kind of information, Gilbert Bennett, never addressed these matters, and it's going to continue on. And right now, the people are very fed up with that kind of stuff. And right yesterday, a couple guys saying to me, "Shut it down." I said, "I don't know how to shut the Muskrat down, but I'm not the only one who's going to be shutting it down." But if this is going to continue on, a lot of people are going to get upset, and they're not getting the jobs, and Labradorians are not getting the jobs. So I say it's going to happen down the road. And if that happens, then,
Yeah, no, Simeon, also, you and I have had this conversation, too, in the past. Do you think sometimes both sides have pretty thin skin when it comes to this? Like the whole run someone down for 10 points. Is there any way to accept that for what it is, just stupid bravado, as opposed to anything real or meaningful or impactful? Do you think we all need a little thicker skin when we deal with these issues? Because if not, we could boil it down to every little comment that's ever made and make a big deal of it at Human Resources. What do you think?
I said these kind of comments got to stop, and I think the workers over there and on our side, people got to start respecting one another. But if this is going to continue on, then you know what's going to happen. The people will get mad, and the other side, the other camp is going to get madder and madder, and it's going to be up in the air, and it's going to be out of control stuff.
Yeah.
And we don't want to see that. But I think that there's got to be some kind of remedy or measure, some kind of a measurement that needs to be dealt with these kind of comments. And I see people on my side, people are not getting the jobs that they're supposed to be getting the jobs, but then it's not happening. And once you lay the person off and there's no replacement, that's what people are saying, and that's what they're getting frustrated.
Yeah, now so far as
it's got to be dealt with.
So far as getting hired, we should have strict adherence to the benefits agreement that identifies the priority of who gets hired. That should be easy enough to deal with, and they should do it. If they committed to it and signed it, they should hold up their end of the bargain. The other stuff about the locker room talk or the foolishness that people get on with, what do you expect that's going to happen? So say, for instance, some fella in there goes, that lazy Inu didn't do this, or someone should run that down for 10 points. What should happen to that person?
Well, I think that they need to be dealt with, I think, in a orderly manner. I think they need to be taught and they need to be told, and I think if my people are saying that, I'm pretty damn sure they're going to be out of job, and just like that, and I guarantee you that it's going to happen. I mean, if one of our people saying that to the non-Aboriginal people, they'll be out in that camp, no questions asked.
Yeah, and well, I suppose
that's not right.
Well, no one's saying it's right. I think it's foolishness. And I think when people get on with that they're just not very bright to begin with. But Simeon, lodge the complaints. Let me know if you have any proactive measures taking place. Let me know if there's any investigations or anything that goes on. And I always look forward to the conversation at your convenience.
Yeah, and I challenge Gilbert Bennett and Alco to make a comment about this. How come they're not doing anything about it when there's complaints that are coming out in a fine print documentation print? How come they're not dealing with it?
I'll get some answers.
That really bugs me because I mean, you know how many calls I get a day in the home where I'm staying about the complaints about Muskrat Falls. Here's what's been happening. Here's what's not been happening. That kind of stuff. It gets to you. It gets to your skin sometimes. And it shouldn't be that way. We got an IBA agreement, and I think that IBA agreement should be honored under the laws of the Canadian laws we have today. And they should be honored.
I think so too. If you have an agreement, it should be honored. I think so far as the other stuff goes, everybody on both sides should just knock it off, right?
Yeah, they should knock it off.
But I think it goes the other way. Do you also think it goes the other way, Simeon, where the Innu or Aboriginal people are directing some of that kind of talk towards their white workers as well? I mean, I hear that they are. I think they are. So should both sides knock it off? Is there one side worse than the other? Not from where I sit.
I think both sides should knock it off and just guys get on with their work. They don't need to make that kind of derogatory comments to each other. But I don't agree making that kind of statements. If you're going to run over Innu, you're going to get 10 points. Let's say if Innu people saying that at Muskrat Falls, they're going to run over non-Aboriginal people and they'll get 20 points. you know what's going to happen? The RCMP are going to be at their face right away. Probably even lay charges right away.
Well, I don't know. Is that true? Has anything like that ever happened?
It is. Oh, yes. Guarantee you. I'm a former cop, and I know what's been happening, and I see what's been happening with Aboriginal people. Every time an Aboriginal person does something, the RCMPs will be at their doorstep just like that. I experienced myself. I've seen it, and it happened to me many times.
Well, you know, that's where there's got to be, I agree with, there's the fact that we need a level playing field, and I do think both sides, and I'm not going to play favorites here because I don't think it makes any sense. The Aboriginal workforce and the others workforce have got to just knock it off. Like, where's the glory in these off-the-cuff, silly, juvenile remarks that people are making? If you have a job at Muskrat Falls making top dollar, consider yourself lucky, and the rest of your little biases or whatever you got built into your mind, just keep them to yourself and shut up, because it just sounds so juvenile and stupid, and I think that's for both sides when they behave like that. I think it's silly.
Yeah, I mean, one of the persons from on the islands made a comment to his made a remark. I think all Labradorians are nuts. What kind of comment is that?
I don't know. I mean, it's ridiculous.
The Labradorians will take a very offensive these kind of comments. If Labradorians start making those kind of comments towards island people, I'm pretty sure the islanders will not take it very lightly as well, right?
Well, I mean, I don't think anyone takes it very lightly, but I do think, and I'll say this even though everyone in Labrador is listening this morning, I think Labrador is also pretty sensitive to that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
When they direct things at us on the island there, I don't think we get our feathers as ruffled as people in Labrador do. Now, we understand why. They feel like they've been left behind as second-class citizens, but all of our hypersensitivities are not doing any of us any favors, and that includes Aboriginals and whites, Labradorians, people on the island, and everyone in between. Simeon, I got to get to the break, but you're always welcome to call.
Okay, thank you.
All the best.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're listening at Muskrat Falls this morning and you got a big job, making money, making big dollars, and that's part of what turns your crank, well, you give your head a shake and don't be such a juvenile idiot. You know, we're not going to run down anyone of any race, creed, color because some dim-witted conversation goes on around the water cooler or the coffee pot. You know it's potentially going to get you in trouble and cause you to lose your job, and I'm talking to all of you. Now, many of you couldn't care less what I think or say, and so what? I'm saying it anyway, right? That kind of stuff is just so pathetic. But there's also a level of hypersensitivity on many sides, too, that is getting a bit stale by, isn't it? You know, everything that's ever said about an Aboriginal person doesn't need to be taken the way that some people do when they logic a place, but you do as you see fit. And the same thing goes the other way. We all know this to be true. There's Aboriginals that say disparaging things about white people as well. Some of that is just so friggin' stupid. And the whole thing about the rift between the big land and the island is just getting a bit much. I mean, the people are picking at us endlessly about whether or not you said Newfoundland or Labrador or you just said Newfoundland. The fact remains, and it's absolutely true. If you ask someone from Labrador, say they're out visiting their buddy in Calgary or they're down on holidays in the Dominican, and someone says to you, where are you from? If you're from the big land, your response is, I'm from Labrador. Does anyone on the island get crooked when you do it? No. Why? Because you're from Labrador. So if you're introducing Joey Russell or any of the other accomplished athletes or artists or humans or any note from Labrador, and they say it's someone so-and-so from Labrador, that does not make everyone on the island go haywire. I can't wait to jump on the Twitter. What do you mean? You're not from Newfoundland, Labrador? I mean, we're all just such sooks about this kind of stuff, right? Of all the meaningful issues that there are to be dealt with, we hang our hat on some of the most petty and juvenile stuff. Now, is it meant to hurt your feelings when someone says Newfoundland this or Newfoundland that or Labrador this or Labrador that? No, because those people, we can easily identify and tune them out. We're all living in the same province here. So just because someone says, where are you from? Buren. Wait, no, you're from Buren, Newfoundland, Labrador. I mean, what's going on here? Should people in Labrador be treated differently? Has the investment been appropriate? Do you have any authority over your own futures? That's reasonable conversations, but hanging our hat on some of these other things, I find silly. Now, if that makes you mad in Labrador, then ask yourself this. When someone from a ways asks you where you're from, and you say Labrador, then you can't hang it over me when I say the same thing if I'm from Newfoundland.